Well, I definitely got a 2-for-1 deal. This was a surprise.
I was 17 when I got diagnosed, went for a checkup, tested my levels on the spot, and he literally said, yep, you're now type 1 diabetic.
So when you got the diagnosis, was there any part of you that had doubts about, am I going to become a professional netballer? Is this going to stop me? Like, what was the mindset and mental state?
My two questions were like,
I was 21. I was playing professionally at this point, and I went in just for like your routine blood test, and it came back a little bit higher. So they asked me to go back and get it redone, but the test results again came back a little bit higher. In the first couple of weeks, I remember going to the pharmacy and they said, oh, you don't look like a type 1 diabetic.
Yeah.
Verity was definitely someone I kind of looked to when I was first diagnosed.
I remember when you first got diagnosed,
I was like, Fez, help me. Just seeing her live with it and thrive with it and play with it, it gave me a lot of hope and confidence.
Type 1 diabetes is not the condition you want if you're a perfectionist.
Have you seen that meme with the guy with all the mathematical equations around his
that's
head?
every day for us.
Yeah, so that's me. I never really had doubts that I wouldn't be able to do what I wanted to do, but I definitely underestimated how challenging it was.
Played for Australia with Sezzy.
Yeah. Sez and Vez.
Yeah, that's it. Good combo. We're the only 2 diabetics in the comp, actually. So
I was going to say,
yeah,
20% of our team.
what are the odds, honestly, of having 2 players with type 1 in the same team?
It's so cool.
What was it like when you know, the coaching staff, the trainers, the physios, like everyone in the team find out that there's someone now in the team with type 1n diabetes? Like,
I actually remember it so clearly.
Are we doing it together? Or
yeah, let's do it together.
cheersing?
Let's
Or
cheers.
what are we doing?
Fizzing.
That's a first. So your turn to close the show. Who wants to go first with their letter to diabetes?
Dear Diabetes.
Dear Diabetes.
Your daily dose of inspiration is courtesy of Sarah Klau and Verity Simmons. Originally, I was scheduled to record with Sarah alone, but when she offered to bring her teammate, Verity, who also lives with type 1 diabetes, it was a 2-for-1 deal that I just couldn't resist. Sez and Vez, as they're better known by, are professional netballers who both live with type 1 diabetes and have both represented Australia at the highest levels, including World Cups and Commonwealth Games. In this episode, we cover a lot of ground, from childhood to being diagnosed and the intricate details of being an elite athlete with type 1 diabetes. We smash some stigmas, we share diabetes management tips and tricks, we talk about nutrition, exercise, daily stress management techniques that have proven to be a game changer for all of us. Sarah and Verity closed the show by reading out their letter to diabetes. As always, you'll be uplifted and inspired by their words. We end the show with What's on Your Plate, the segment where we eat a meal together. On today's menu, we had a unique beetroot and berry smoothie. All 3 of us are on multiple daily injections, so we celebrated with a cheers by raising our insulin pens and clinking them together, a moment that made us all laugh. This podcast wouldn't be possible without the support of Medtronic. I'm incredibly grateful, not just for their technology, but for the people behind it. Medtronic puts patients first. They truly care, and I feel it. So to my Medtronic family, thank you. Without further delay, here is your daily double dose of Sez and Vez. Well, I definitely got a 2-for-1 deal. This was a surprise because we had scheduled to do the pod.
At last.
Yeah, it was actually so funny. Let's tell the listener. So I found out about you through, I think I was just like looking for guests, and I was looking for like who are some athletes that have done some awesome things. And your name came up, and I went to Instagram to message you, and I saw that you'd messaged me 6 years earlier.
How embarrassing.
No, but it was like
No reply.
I hadn't been seen though. That's the difference. But you'd messaged me saying, I just got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. You know, I think it was something like, can you help me with this or that? I can't remember exactly what it was. And then I was like, actually, this is perfect. Let's do this podcast. And then you, like a week out, you're like, hey, do you mind if I bring a friend who also has diabetes? So 2-for-1 deal. This is amazing. Let's sort of get to know both of you because I know your stories. But firstly, I want to know, how did you guys meet? How did that happen?
Yeah, where did we first meet?
Probably Aussie commitments, like through netball. The netball world's quite small. Yeah. Everyone knows everyone. Verity was definitely someone I kind of looked to when I was first diagnosed.
I remember when you first got diagnosed. Yeah,
I was like, Fez, help me. But yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about it soon. But my diagnosis was a little bit different. It was a little bit more gradual, but kind of came to a point where I sort of got that advice from Vez. And I think just seeing her live with it and thrive with it and play with it, it gave me a lot of hope and confidence. So I think that definitely helped me with my
did
diagnosis.
you play in the same team together, or was it just being in
opponents? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you knew that Vez had type 1
before
you got it. So you'd sort of seen her with it, but you obviously knew nothing about type 1 beforehand because before I was diagnosed, I knew nothing about type 1. But so then when you got it, you were like, hey, I know someone with type 1 that I can talk to. It always helps to have a role model or someone to look up to. Well, let's get into the diagnosis stories because I find them always so fascinating how different everyone's story can be. Vez, why don't we start with you? Tell me a little bit about your diagnosis.
I was 17 when I got diagnosed, and it was purely I was just drinking. I think my nan said to me, she's like, that's your 10th bottle of water that you've drank. I was like, yeah, I'm training, it's fine, no stress. And went for a checkup, all good. 2 hours later, doctor called me and said, hey, can you come back? We've found something. Tested my levels on the spot, and I think they were 28, 29 or something. And he literally said, yep, you're now type 1 diabetic. Passed me 2 needles, fast and slow, bag of jelly beans, glucose monitor, and that was literally it. It wasn't a lot. It's a very old school doctor.
So sent out basically on your own. Good luck.
Yeah, it was. They wanted to admit me for 3 weeks, so still being under 18 to go into the children's hospital. But I literally was, I think it was almost 4 days after I was diagnosed, was booked in for shoulder surgery. So there was just no way I could. I was getting a reco on this, and I was like, no, that's priority. I've got to get that done.
Wow.
Don't have time for that. So all they said to me was okay, well, we've got to be under 15 to get surgery. And I had no idea what that was. Who knows? I was like,
there's
what
no
do I eat?
reference
What
as
do I do?
what is 15?
Yeah. So it was just I don't know, just thrown in the deep, dropped in there really quickly, and kind of just figure it out.
So you were 17. Were you already playing high level sport at this stage?
Yeah, I moved out of home at 15. So I was from Grafton, New South Wales, moved down to Newcastle.
Okay.
And was there with the NSWIS program and just in and out of New South Wales teams.
Okay.
And then, had this shoulder surgery 4 days after diagnosis, which was tough. But it actually it's funny how the world kind of works because it gave me 6 months to rehab this, but also to figure out what this disease was.
Yeah.
So I was like, timing wise, you know what? It's probably pretty good.
Yeah. But also trying to manage diabetes around surgery.
Yeah.
That's hard.
It was
you're
wild.
not moving much, your hormones, you probably got, it's just not your natural state to live in.
Yep.
So even the learnings that you're getting probably around that time don't reflect what's going to happen after surgery when you're recovered and back into training and doing all that.
Exactly right. And once you kind of go under and the amount of drugs they give you, just threw them through the roof.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then once I after the 6 months, I could get back on court, I had to kind of relearn it again because again, you're at this high level and you're kind of thrown in and back in and you're training every day and it's changed. But quickly went to the Australian Institute of Sport after that, was picked up straight away. So was kind of in a really good environment with doctors around me 24/7. Had on a 2-year scholarship there so I could really focus in and kind of channel it and understand what it was.
So when you got the diagnosis, was there any part of you that had doubts about, am I going to become a professional netballer? Is this going to stop me? What was the mindset and mental state?
My 2 questions were can I please, can I eat chocolate? Is that definitely priority?
Yeah, great question.
Right? And can I play netball? And he was this really old school doctor, lovely guy, but he was it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I was like, nah, I don't trust this guy. Nah.
No, I don't want to hear.
Yeah. So I was like, nah, we'll figure it out. And I don't know, once I kind of left and kind of got home and gathered my thoughts, I was like, nah, I'll be right. I've never been one to really look at anyone else's story because I think everyone's so different. I never looked for really a lot of advice. I just was like, no, tune into my body and really figure out how I'm feeling and what I need. It was almost I think I've been, to a doctor about my diabetes 3 times in my life. I just haven't really, because I've just kind of put it on myself and been like, no, because everyone is so different individual with it. I'm better for my own doctor. And I don't mean that in a arrogant way at all, but just more about, I guess, figure it out and learn it because I've got to live with it.
Yeah, I think that there's so much I want to dig into in just what you said there in terms of this is a condition that is, compared to any other condition that I know of, chronic conditions, self-management is more important than anything. You have to take responsibility. You've got to get to know your body. you take it upon yourself to do the learnings, I still think it's good to see your doctor and have a team around you. But I do agree that, taking responsibility early you're going to learn the most if you do it that way.
Definitely.
It doesn't mean like never go to see the doctor. I think there are people who will think, well, I can just do it on my own forever. I do think having like health professionals is obviously amazing. And it's going to help you to achieve, certain things. But I do like that mindset. And Sarah, let's hear about your diagnosis story.
Yeah, mine was a little bit different to Vez's. So I was playing for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. So I was playing professionally at this point. I was 21 and I went in just for like your routine blood test, and it came back a little bit higher. So they asked me to go back and get it redone. I had like an Uncle Toby's muesli bar or something. So it must have spiked before going in. But the test results, again, came back a little bit higher. So I was kind of in that limbo period, pre-diabetic for 3 years. They suspected that it was Modi. So that different form of diabetes. So I was like, oh my God, is it type 1? Is it Modi? Is it what's going on? So they gave me like a little finger pricker to take home, and they just said, keep testing. Once you can't get a reading under, a certain number, come back and see us. So I was on medication for 3 years. So like taking tablets every day, and just monitored it with a low carb diet and exercise. So that was information that I was told.
Especially as an athlete to be in that sort of no man's land of, it's not type 1, because Modi, for those listening, it's essentially like a genetic, monogenic. It's a different type of diabetes. So it's not type 1, it's not type 2. It sits in its own sort of space. And as you say, the treatment is like a medication, like an oral medication, depending on which type you have. But as an athlete, that would be tricky because we need carbs kind of to perform.
Yeah.
So being low carb, and for like how many years was it on that low carb diet?
I was on like 1 tablet a day for like 2 years, and then upped it to 2 tablets for the final year. It was a little bit bizarre because I was getting, readings from 6 to 15, and if I like skipped a meal, I would probably go low. So it was a weird stage, and I think I was in a little bit of denial. I'm like, oh, if I can manage it through, low carb and exercise, this is sweet. Like I can do this. But my strength and conditioning coach, Lucas, he lives with cystic fibrosis, and he was trying a little Libra patch. He said, oh, I've got a spare. Do you want to try? And so I wore it for a week, and it's kind of showing that my levels were going, above 15 before training, and spiking quite high after food. So I kind of gave that data to the endocrinologist. I thought it was a good time to maybe check back in. And that was, when I was 24 in 2019. So 3 years later after that initial sort of flag. And then I officially joined the type 1 club.
Type 1 team.
Ew.
So how did you figure out that it was type 1? Was it after wearing the CGM that you got some more insights and thought, I better go back to the doctor and see what's going on here? Or
to be honest, I wasn't that clear about it. I was kind of like, oh, future problem, like back burner.
Really?
Whatever, I'll just take the tablets like they say and just, keep an eye on it. In hindsight, I probably should have, done some more research and looked after myself a little bit better. But
well, I would say actually it's so interesting. The contrast here is that in that situation, I would say it's the health professional's role to guide you, because you don't know what the different types of diabetes are at that point.
Yeah, I was a bit confused.
It's confusing.
Yeah.
So I think that like while you're in the diagnosis phase, having a health professional, an endocrinologist or a GP or a diabetes educator to really say, okay, we should look into it is quite important. Did you know, like what was the test you got done that really cemented the diagnosis of type 1?
The glucose tolerance test, so that nice sugary drink that you get to have, and the 2 hours after, 1 hour after, and it was kind of just showing that my pancreas wasn't doing what it was meant to do. And then
did you get like blood tests done to check like antibodies?
And that was the final indicator, whereas I think in the earlier tests maybe it wasn't showing up. So again, it was a very gradual process for me. So very fortunate in a lot of ways, but it was an interesting time. Yeah,
that's actually more common than you think, like the misdiagnosis of Modi and type 1 and vice versa. Like I've spoken to a few people now who've had similar situations there. So you were already playing high level netball. Did you feel like it set you back at all? Could you perform to your best ability? Were you nervous about your future? How did you feel at that point?
During my like sporting career, I came across one girl. Her name was also Sarah. And I was like, oh, sweet. She gets to eat jelly beans. Like, how hard can it be? Like, Verity plays with it. She's great. She's fit. She's athletic. Like, it's not going to stop me. So for me, I never really had doubts that I wouldn't be able to do what I wanted to do, but I definitely underestimated how challenging it was. I remember being diagnosed in February 2019, and it was a World Cup year for the Australian Diamonds. I hadn't debuted at the time, and my goal was to be playing at the World Cup in July that same year. And I think I was a little bit naive at the time, but fortunately I made the team, which is, it's really hard to get into the team, let alone make a pinnacle event like that. And going over with type 1, it's the jet lag, it's just managing like everything, the nerves, the stress, different foods. Like, it was really challenging. And I think I was similar to Vez, I didn't really seek a lot of help. Like, I think I had 1 or 2 diabetic education sessions, and it was kind of like self-discovery. I was just reading the JDRF, the manuals, and listening to your podcast, actually, listening to your story. And actually, like, I shed a tear. I was like, oh my God, I can resonate so closely to this. And it is quite a daunting time. And I guess, there weren't many people around me living with it. So it was, very interesting.
So what point did you message Vez and say, hey, I just got type 1. Let's talk. I need your help.
Honestly, I think it was maybe the day of or the day after.
Of the type 1 or the Modi?
The official type 1. So
okay.
After my diabetic education, so I went straight there after, and they taught me how to use the needles, and they gave me like the big circle thing to make sure you rotate the needles. And I remember being so scared to do it for the first time, and then they sent me a couple to go home with and try, and I was like, oh my God, like what am I meant to do? Like, this is so daunting. And then reading the manual where it's like, oh, you might lose your eyesight, you might lose a limb, you might do this if you don't manage it well. And I've got, I guess, a level of perfectionism as well. And I put a lot of pressure on myself in those early days. So I've definitely gotten a little bit kinder to myself over the years. But it's like, have you seen that meme with the guy with all the mathematical equations around his head?
That's every day for us.
Yeah. So that's me.
Type 1 diabetes is not the condition you want if you're a perfectionist, because it's so imperfect that like it will just undo your whole brain. Like, it's just not, it's tough. Yeah. So what was the technology and stuff that you were given immediately? So it was finger pricks and injections. Yeah. And how long did you stay on that for?
So obviously over the 3 years I had the finger pricker, and then initially I was on the finger pricker for the first 6 months of my official diagnosis. And then my Sydney diabetes mum, she has a daughter with type 1, and she was one of my biggest supports, and she gave me a Dexcom to try to take over to the World Cup. So I think without that I would have really struggled. So she gave me like a little hamper with like a heat bag, eye patch, like lollies, like really cute. And just that little gesture and the love from the community like helped me a lot.
Just the technology changes. Because like, it's interesting because Vez, you said you're still on the old school finger prick, and I'm also on MDR. Are you on injections?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. You don't use a pump?
No.
Okay. So we're all on injections.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're the old school type
like
1
it.
team. That's good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was going to get to this later, but let's talk a little bit about like the reason why you're not on a CGM, not on a pump. Yeah. You are on a CGM now. Yeah. Yeah.
I've been on the Dexcom a little bit, but it just got ripped out so much in netball. And it was just such a waste.
Did you have a patch or a cover?
Yeah. I think it's my height. I really think my height. Like, it's just not a good height in netball.
Where was it on your body?
I've tried it on my arm. That's probably the best spot, to be honest. And then on my stomach, but that's where it always got hit. It's like everyone's elbows at my height. I was like, I'm wasting it.
Are you a very physical player? Do you consider yourself like?
I like a little bit.
Cheers.
A little bit. And people grab, and it's like, it was just, it was amazing, and like I loved it. I also felt I got a little bit reliant on it as well, and I didn't like that. So it was like small doses of it were good, because I think it's like you're like, oh yeah, the alert will go off. It's all good. Like, we'll sort it then, or. I was looking at numbers all the time and almost getting a bit too, like, I don't know, obsessed with it. And then I played AFLW last year, and there was just no chance of wearing it. Like, it's so physical. I was like, I literally can't. But I was talking to Sez the other day. I was like, I'll probably jump back on for a little bit, especially just making this transition back to netty. Very different sports, very, very different carb loading, and my diet's changed again. So it's probably a really good time to kind of do that and see how we go, see how long it lasts.
And I imagine the same reason you're not on a pump is because having a device and playing high level sport.
And I think if the bucket's not broken, don't fix it.
Right.
You know, like it's like injections are working. That's okay. Touch wood, everything's okay. And
And
yeah.
you're happy with your control, your management, your
Yeah, I think so. I think I sat like my average was like around 7.1, which is higher than what it usually is. But I've always had them a little bit higher with sport, so it doesn't stress me. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of athletes do that. So leaving it a little bit higher to create that safety net, that little buffer space in case you drop. Because I imagine your schedules are just so active.
It's a bit going on.
Yeah, there's a bit going on. So you don't want to be sitting, as an office worker, you can sit at 4.5 or 5 all day.
Yep.
Because you're sitting down all day. But if you're active, that's a risk.
That would make me so nervous, I think.
I'm the same as you. I feel comfortable being like 6.5.
Yeah.
And it reflects my A1C, which is always around 6.
Yep.
And people are like, hey, mine's 4.3. And I'm like, good on you, man. I can't do that.
Yeah.
It's just,
that's stressy.
Maybe if
how many hypos are you having?
Right. Well, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It only shows so much of the picture.
Exactly. The A1's, it's important, but time in range, number of hypos, that's also really important.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your amazing career between netball and AFLW. Like the ability to switch codes is, incredible, especially with type 1. So what made you decide, well, let's go back. So you get diagnosed, you pursue a career in being a professional netballer.
Yeah.
And you reach obviously the highest level, played for Australia.
Yeah. I think we were alongside each other for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got our little Dexcom pictures.
Yeah. That's awesome. We'll put that on the screen right now. So tell me how you eventually get into this netball world and then why the move to the AFLW.
Yeah. Again, everyone's journey is really different. Mine started as a kid and mum was driving me from Grafton every weekend. So it was 10 hours down, 10 hours back to Sydney. It was just, it was a lot. Every weekend
legend.
we'd do that. Yeah, absolute legend. I don't know how she did it. And the roads were different back then, so it wouldn't even take that long now. So I was spewing, but God love her. And then, moved out of home, moved to Newcastle with the Institute of Sport, New South Wales. Was diagnosed and had surgery there as well. Mm-hmm. And then got picked up with the AIS. So I did 2 years of a scholarship there, which was really cool. And, I say that before, like I've only seen, a diabetic doctor 3 times, but I've always been in an environment where I've had doctors around me. So there's always that healthcare. That's what's the beauty of being an athlete. Like we're so spoiled is that you've got someone there to lean on every time. So, and especially being there at the shoot, like it was just incredible with the facilities they had. So kind of got a bit of a better handle on, things, and netball kind of picked up, which was really good. And then was picked up by West Coast Fever there. So offered a contract and moved straight to Perth. Mm-hmm. Did 2 years there, really missed home, loved Perth, but then did 2 years in Queensland Firebirds. I came home just to see mum and have 2 years back on the East Coast and then moved back over to Perth and have been sitting there playing. So, and in that time played for Australia with Sezzy.
Yep. Sez and Vez.
Yeah, that's it. Good combo. We're the only 2 diabetics in the comp actually. So
I was going to say,
20% of our team.
Honestly, it's true. What are the odds, honestly, of having 2 players with type 1 in the same team?
It's so cool.
It's kind of wild.
It's awesome.
Do you think that exists anywhere else in the world? Surely not.
I don't know.
I haven't come across it.
I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love it.
Yeah, it's like a superpower.
Because like we've been apart for so long. Like you talk through, like you hit each other up through Graham and things, but it's not the same as like actually having someone in person, leaning on them and being like, oh man, I've had a day. Like it's so nice.
It's just nice like to know like the underlying, understanding what actually goes on.
Totally.
Like it's hard to kind of describe that to other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of understanding, what was it like when the coaching staff, the trainers, the physios, like everyone in the team find out that there's someone now in the team with type 1 diabetes? Like, was there a learning curve for the staff and the players? And like, how was that conversation? And were you like nervous to have it? Like, are they going to judge me differently? Like, what was that like?
I actually remember it so clearly. When I first got to Fever, I said to Plum, our coach, I was like, Plum, like I think I was 18 or something. I was young. And I was like, I think that I need to sit down and tell the girls like about this because like it's a little bit different and they're going to be, there is times where you have a low, you're not yourself, or when you're high, like it's almost like that, I don't know, you're in a state, and it's important. And she was like, absolutely. So we made a little PowerPoint together. I'm horrible at computers. So she helped me, God love her. Mm-hmm. And I actually sat down with the girls and put this PowerPoint together and actually, in a room and sat down and say, hey, this is what I have. So this is what I need. And I felt really comfortable in doing that. And I think I was the only one in the comp at that stage with being diabetic until Ceci come along.
Yeah.
There was one Emma Costa before us who was, a few moons before us, our time.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I think it was just really important to be open and clear about it.
Whose idea was it to do that?
Mine.
That's such a mature and really intelligent thing to do, because the more people that know about it and the more that they know about the condition, the easier it is for everyone to manage it. Right?
Absolutely.
Like when it's silent and hidden, it's just it's bloody impossible.
100%. And, you just never know what could happen. Like, thank goodness nothing did, but
right,
at least
you might need
aware.
the help, yeah.
Yeah, or like the biggest part was like people stealing your lollies. I'm like, oh God, you actually don't realise how like I really need them.
That's survival kit.
Yeah.
Don't touch those ever again. Yeah.
Yeah. So girls actually understood, like, so I always had this little handbag and packs of lollies with me because I would need it. But it was kind of just a really clear-cut way of being like, hey, this is what's happening.
I was talking to Paddy McCartan on the show, and he did the exact same thing. So he got into the room with all the guys and with the coach, and they sort of gave a presentation essentially, like, this is what it is. If I seem a bit out of it, or if my blood glucose goes low, I need jelly beans. Don't ever inject me with insulin. Like, because some people think that it's like you're having a low. They think it's like a like when you're anaphylactic and you need adrenaline.
Yeah.
No. Don't touch the insulin.
Yep.
And just the education piece. Did you do the same thing with your team, or?
I didn't initiate it, but being new into the Diamonds world, they asked like a diabetes educator to come in just to chat to the girls and kind of acknowledge the symptoms. Like if Sarah's looking sweaty and a bit agitated, maybe give her a juice pop. Or and obviously with the travel side of things as well, I think it was really helpful. I don't like being in the spotlight and the attention on me. It's not something like, I'm not ashamed of having diabetes or anything. I just hated the attention on myself. But within the Swiss environment, it was a little bit different. I see the girls every day. I don't think we necessarily had like a meeting or anything, but I had a lot of like individual conversations and just tried to educate the girls as much as I could. And they still ask me, what's hypo? What's hypo? When do you need insulin? It's like, guys, come on. Yeah. But again, like before being diagnosed, like I didn't know anything.
Right,
so
exactly. We can't judge people for not knowing.
Being patient and educating as much as you can.
Speaking of people not knowing much about diabetes, what are some sort of like stigmas or misconceptions that you've faced the most? I'm sure there's been so many from not just people, like probably, opponents that you've played against, or friends and family, or media. Like, what are some of the main things that you guys have dealt with?
I just think people think eat sugar, like eat lollies, like you're sweet. They're like, oh, you must be like love it because you get to eat lollies all day.
Yeah, they think it's like a perk of diabetes. It's like you get to eat candy all day. Yeah.
I was like, that part is cool when you have a low, but like it's not good.
Right.
I remember in the first couple of weeks, I remember going to the pharmacy and they said, oh, you don't look like a type 1 diabetic. Yeah. I was like, wait, should I look a certain way? Like,
What does it look like?
But like, what?
You should ask them. So what does type 1 look like?
Yeah.
I was like, just give me my meds, please.
Yeah.
That annoys me so much, especially in a pharmacy.
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
But that's like a double stigma, because that's saying you don't look like a type 1, which means that people with type 1 look different to type 2. So you're stigmatizing both. Do you know what I mean? Like,
let me rephrase that. I think she said, you don't look like a diabetic.
Yeah. But even that, like, it's still is.
Yeah.
It's still
people with type 2 can look totally thin, normal, healthy body weight. Like, you don't have to be overweight to have type 2 either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But again, that's just, you can't expect everyone to know everything.
No.
So, so let's go through your career to that point. So you made it to New South Wales team. Yeah. What point do you get selected to play for Australia? And then what was did you both play, was it World Cups or was it?
What was I? I was in New Zealand. I was like
Consolation,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was that was in COVID. So that was when we went over, we're in quarantine for 2 weeks, and it was that joyous time.
Yeah.
Wild. My journey, I was from the country as well. So my mum did a lot of traveling as well. So 3 hours there, back. Was very lucky, had a lot of support. I first got my professional contract when I was 21. Mm-hmm. And then there was like a change in coach and things. So my friend was playing for the New South Wales Swifts, and so I thought, why not come join you? So I got offered a contract, and I've been here, I think this is my 9th year now. So
9th year, wow.
Yeah, so I'm officially a Sydney Sider, I'm not sure. But
100%, we'll claim you.
So I had 3 really good years with the New South Wales Swifts, where I got lots of court time and had lots of growth and learning. I think, we had quite a young team, so I was kind of put in the deep end a little bit, but that allowed me to grow and I think the biggest thing for me was the coaches believing in me. And I was in the squad, the Aussie squad, in 2018. But yeah, so in 2019, that's when we had the selections early in the year, and I debuted halfway through that year. So I've been in the squad ever since. So I've been very fortunate. I've played at 2 World Cups and the Commonwealth Games. So 2 golds and a silver. So lots of
2
special,
golds?
yeah.
Oh, amazing.
So lots of special memories, and yeah, very, very lucky to be amongst, all these amazing girls and role models and coaches and have all these incredible experiences. Yeah, never take it for granted.
Well, it's such a good attitude to like be really grateful for the experience. What I wanted to ask you both is, how do you go from like a young girl with a passion for netball to pursuing the professional career path? Like, is that a conscious decision? Is it like you literally have like a family dinner, you're like, okay, are we going to do this? Or is it just you sort of just fall into it as you get better and better, and eventually you end up playing for Australia and winning a World Cup? Like, how do you get there? Like, what's the path?
Yeah, mine was probably a decision, like I think. So I got to a real crossroads. I had a couple of sports on the fly, and I was like, oh, like, which way am I going to go?
What was the other sport? Was it?
Touch footy and basketball.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, loved them. And they just kept clashing, and even financially, like it was just crazy how much, sport was with the amount of travel. So yeah, I think it was kind of like, all right, if I've got to move out of home here. Like it was, as mum was driving me and flying back and forth. And Swiss were kind of like, she's missing too much school. Like she either, you're out, like you got to do something. And that was my decision. I was like, okay, I'm 15. Like, let's give this a crack. Wow. So leave the farm and move to Newcastle, which I thought was the big smoke. And yeah, I think that's where it was like, okay, we're all in, this is what we're going for it.
Wow.
And I feel like you put a lot of pressure on yourself as a kid, in that age. Like I'll put so much pressure on myself being like, I have to make it because I've left home and everyone's made all these sacrifices for me. So yeah, when I look back now, I'm a complete different person because I'm just not in that mindset of putting that pressure. I don't know. It's yeah, but then in the same set, if I didn't do that, I don't think I would have, got to.
You needed the pressure to to really follow through with what you said you were going to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Set a goal, go get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if you were like a little bit more tentative about it and had like an easy fallback strategy, whether you would get there or not.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Exactly. Sometimes I think with myself, it's like I just go all in, and you have to make an outcome. Like you have to make it happen. So it's probably
And then what was the mindset around changing codes to go to the AFLW?
Yeah, it just I'm usually chomping at the bit for preseason. Like I love it. Love being active. Love getting around the girls. And it was after we had a bit of a pay dispute in netball, and it went for about 6 months unpaid.
Was this a big public thing?
Big public thing.
In the media?
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard of this. I wasn't sure if it was some silent thing behind the scenes. Okay.
Yeah, it was really tough,
right.
Really tough. And I think that's, there's a lot of things in the back of my mind, but that's probably the tipping edge with it. I just wasn't keen to go back. I don't know, I just was in this mindset. I was like, I'm just not loving what I'm doing. It become like a chore. And I think just the financial side of things as well, I was like, this just isn't cool. Like, I'd be lying if I said it didn't come into it.
No, that's fair. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a job.
Exactly right.
You're doing a job.
Yeah, I just don't think we were treated very well with that. So, but that wasn't the underlining factor. It was more my mindset for the main thing that I wasn't happy.
Right.
And I was like, something's got to go. Something's got to. And I had no idea what I was going to do because that was my job. That was my income. But I went in there and said, hey, like, guys, I love this place, but I'm going to be extremely selfish if I take this contract because I'm not all in.
Wow.
My mindset just isn't there. And I can't do that because if there's someone like me that's coming through the ranks that would be killing for a contract, I simply can't just take it and, and not allow that person that's going to be all in and thrive when I don't really want to be there.
Wow.
So
another very mature thing to do. I mean, I think a lot of people wouldn't have done that.
It was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. And not knowing where your next pay is coming. I mean, for 6 months I wasn't paid. We both weren't. And then, I didn't receive any back pay from that because I've left the contract as well. So it was like, okay, I got to go figure life out. Yeah, it was a scary jump.
That is crazy to literally not know what the next day, week, month is going to look
that's
like.
It. You've got a mortgage, you've got bills to pay. But I don't know, I'm probably just put my hands out to the universe and was like, all right, guide me, let's go.
Right.
Let's figure it.
So how did AFL fall in your hands? Like
so Freo, Dockers and West Coast Eagles called the next day. So once it was released to the media, I got these 2 phone calls and said, can we catch up?
But is that like, do they see you as like a development target, or like how do you know you're going to be a good AFLW player?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess.
Had you played that sport?
Never.
Really?
Never. And I don't really, like, being a New South girl growing up, I watched League growing up, so I never watched AFL. I was like, what the heck is this game?
Yeah.
My older sister played and she was in Canberra, so I caught a couple of her games, but wouldn't know what the heck was going on. And then being in Perth for so long, you have to jump on a bandwagon. So I jumped on West Coast bandwagon, caught a couple of games, but still never understood the game. And
Kick a goal?
Pardon?
Kick a goal?
I did kick a goal, which was good. Yeah, that was fun.
That would have felt good.
It was such a roller coaster and it was such a cool experience. I'm so glad that I did it. And I think it's like being a kid again because I was in rookie mode. I'm learning everything on the fly, how to kick, what to do. Like it was just the challenge. I thrived in it, loved it. The girls were incredible. West Coast Eagles as a club was just insane. Their facilities, everything they have. I just love being an athlete.
Amazing. I mean, the fact that you had I guess that like a lot of athletes have crossover in terms of skill set. Like you've got
definitely
good gas tank, the VO2 max, the strength, the power, all of that stuff. But to actually pick up a new sport and, become a professional in too is pretty awesome. Opportunity to have, them allow you to do that, but also to pull it off is unreal. And then, so you did that season there and then you switched back to netball? So
I was delisted from the club. I kind of saw it coming though, like being an older athlete and the young ones that were coming through, these kids have been playing since they were 5. So it's almost like netball terms now, like they've all kind of caught up to the game. And I don't think you'll see as many cross-coders in AFLW now just because the young ones are so good. And there's money coming through the sport. Like it's going to be,
it's
AFLW
growing fast.
Huge. Yeah, absolutely. So completely understand that. Was actually looking at different clubs kind of thing in the draft to kind of go and play again. And then I just got these phone calls from a few random people saying, hey, you playing for Swifts? I didn't even think about netball. Like netball was out of I was like, I can't go back now because I've done that and didn't think there'd be any spots anyway. And I had no idea where that was coming from. So I actually just messaged Bri on Facebook, like so old school. I was like, hey Bri, what's going on? Like, and she called me. I was down south in Margaret River and she was like, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, oh, I'm just down south. Like, I'll be back the next day. She goes, oh, do you want to fly to Sydney? And I was like, okay. And it was just going to be for a couple of nights. We ended up being a week and then offered me a contract.
Wow.
So it was just, again, like when things are meant to be. And I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now in life. Like it's putting a netball back in the hands is such a good feeling and knowing what I'm doing. Like I guess going from footy, having no idea and coming back to a sport where you know it like the back of your hand, it's just like, it's beautiful. I love it.
What a story. And it continues and who knows where it's going to go.
Who knows what's next? We don't know.
You'll probably be playing cricket or tennis for Australia or something.
Just come to the good side.
Oh, that's unreal. Let's talk a little bit about the actual diabetes management. Let's get more specific around, because obviously, from all the athletes I've spoken to, there's a big difference between diabetes management in a game versus training.
Absolutely.
In season versus off season, pre-season. Like there's so many different intensities that you train at and the speed of a game and the adrenaline and all these things that affect diabetes. So let's give people some insights and tips and tricks around diabetes management. So Saz, we'll start with you. In your off season, what is your relationship with exercise in the off season? Like, is it something that you enjoy to do, or are you just like, oh, I just need a break, And
off season.
There is no off season?
No, we get about 4 weeks off, and I'm a big adventurer, so I like to travel. So, the routine's disrupted, so I find it quite challenging.
But do you do structured exercise, or do you just feel like I've done so much structured stuff?
No.
You just keep it
like walks, hikes.
Interesting.
If I feel like going for a run, go for a run. But I think previously when I was younger, I would feel the guilt and the pressure to make sure that I keep up my fitness. But your mental side and your preparation with elite sport, you need to take that time off. Otherwise you'll just burn out. Right.
And burnout can apply to your sport and diabetes, right?
Yep.
If you're just constantly working on your diabetes, you can burn out. Which I don't know if either of you have ever experienced that. I haven't, but I've heard that when you get to that point of burnout, it's very tricky because you stop caring about your management and then your levels go out of control. So you have a little off season, and then when it comes time for preseason, and obviously everything ramps up, what sort of strategies do you use around making sure your blood glucose stays in control? Do you change your insulin? Like, how do you manage your diabetes in the preseason?
It kind of it does change. Like preseason's probably our biggest intense kind of block, and quite often it's a little bit ad hoc during the week. So our structure sort of changes, but we often train in the morning, so I like to try and eat like an hour, 2 hours before going out. I find with netball, it's like anaerobic. So when like I'm out on court, I quite often find that it doesn't trend up or down too much, which I'm very lucky. Again, everyone's so different. I've always got like Powerade and lollies on the sideline as backup, but I don't know. People do ask me, and I'm like, I don't know. Like every day's so different. Like I honestly, I don't have a magical solution. Like I can't tell you, but I think, yeah, the biggest thing for me is routine. So trying to eat 1 hour, 2 hours before training. So, you know, the insulin on board's kind of settled. Making sure that I have like some protein, some carbs after I train. So to avoid the drop. Other management tips.
Well, so just in terms of, because that's something important we should talk about, is the reason you eat your meal 2 hours before is because you don't want to have a lot of insulin on board, because the risk of going low is obviously increased if you have a lot of insulin.
Yeah.
Do you still change your dose, like maybe reduce it just to be sure that you can stay in range, or do you just give whatever your usual insulin to carb ratio is, you just give that every time?
In the off season, I find that I have to almost double my insulin. But once I start preseason, that's when I become a lot more sensitive to the insulin. But because I've only got such a short period off throughout the year, I don't really change it that much. Like it's pretty steady throughout the whole season.
Okay.
But if I have like 2 weeks off, that can knock me around. So I think, again, structure, routine.
Yeah.
Regular exercise, it helps me so much. Like, exercise is my life savior.
Yeah, and you do it for a living. So I feel like I train. I'm not an athlete, but I pretend I'm an elite athlete just so I can manage my diabetes really well, because
100%.
I just want to train every day, treat it like a job, like as if I were being paid to be an athlete, because it's just so beneficial.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with exercise? Is it similar sort of thing?
Yeah, huge. Like it's I'm saying like I've really got to up the insulin if I'm not working out. My body hates it. And even just mentally, I was like, I need to run or I need to move. Like even sitting here, I'm like, guys,
we should do some squats.
I love it. I love working out. I love the gym. I love just getting out. Like I love having a ball in my hand. I love being active. Right. And I think that's all I've known.
So off season, you still work out?
Yeah,
still
absolutely. Just because it's fun.
You love it.
I probably had the biggest break, I think, after footy this year that I've ever had, which was like 2 weeks of I wasn't in the gym. Literally was like, no, give your body a rest, just because purely the amount of Ks I put myself through and not used to it with footy compared to netball was just, I was exhausted.
So much running, hey?
Yeah, huge. That field is massive.
It's big. A lot bigger than a netball.
Huge.
Court.
Every time I walked out, I was like, whoa, this is so I just let the body recover a little bit. But in those 2 weeks, my levels were roller coastering. Like it was wild. And I was like, wow, I really do need this. But I also love that I need it, because it's like, no, you have to.
Yeah,
you know?
It's that sort of motivator that's never going away.
Yeah.
We live with this every day.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people who don't have diabetes think that I'll take a week or two off.
Yep.
You're not seeing the physiological effect of 2 weeks sitting on the couch, but we see it. Like it's like in your face, it's on your screen, like you see the numbers.
Yep.
So have you got a different strategy for training versus game day? Like what's your game day strategy in terms of insulin on board? Where do you want to keep your blood glucose level, all those kinds of things?
Yeah. Again, it's probably adjusting now back from footy, because it all shifted again for footy. But being a longer game and racking up more Ks, I was pumping in the carbs, which I'm not usually as big on, even though I know we need them. But in netball being 60 minutes, almost you can get a little bit in, but you don't need to be so reliant on it.
Right. You're not running the sort of distances you are at footy. Yeah,
exactly.
Very different.
Yeah, it's almost half. Like I reckon we'd get 5-6 Ks max in a netball game. Yeah, if that. And
not me. I just stay in the circle and do a few jumps.
But still,
depending on your
explosive.
Position. Yeah.
Where like footy almost hitting 12, 15 Ks kind of thing, which is so it's decent.
Wow.
So I'm probably out training, and then training's longer than a game. So I actually think I eat more for training than what I probably do on game day. I actually like being a little bit lighter on game day, eating a little bit heavier the night before. So if we do get pasta or something, or, some kind of carb I'll get in, and I feel like, okay, like I've got some fuel on board that I can kind of sit behind, and I'm a bit of a grazer on game day. And I'm probably the same, is that 2 hours out, I'm probably not having much, just sipping on a sugar-free Gatorade or something.
Yep.
But purely just because I've got my levels in a good state, I don't want any more insulin on board. I was like, I want to avoid that.
Do you find that the adrenaline of like a big game sends your blood glucose high?
Definitely. Yeah.
This has been a theme that I've like everyone I've spoken to. So I had like Rod Kafer, who played for the Wallabies. He said the same thing, like big games, high blood glucose. Paddy McCartan, I reckon he said almost every game he played, he was high. And obviously it, you think it's going to impact your performance in a negative way, but these guys are at the highest level, you're at the highest level. So how did you find a high blood glucose affected your performance, if at all?
Yeah, going back to the training versus game, like I don't think I really changed in terms of the food consumption, but I think in terms of being more diligent, looking at my Dexcom technology, I think just being more mindful, because like you obviously want to get out on court and, I don't know, have a hypo and having to come off.
Game day strategy, slightly different to training, right? So you're going to check your Dexcom before you go on the court. What's a number you're looking for? Like what? Because obviously going low in the middle of the game is a disaster for you and your team. The last thing you want to do is go low on. Have you ever had a low on court?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Interesting. Did you feel it or?
Yeah, absolutely. And at the time I had this cheeky little pocket sewn into my dress where I had jelly beans in. So I'm like running, going like,
very clever.
I should have just come off. And then went high after that. It was actually in a grand final with Firebirds. So timing was really bad.
Oh, that's bad.
Not ideal. No.
Yeah, not ideal. But good learnings, great learnings.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Found a solution.
Yeah.
Sneaky jelly beans.
Exactly.
Have you had a low during game?
Not an official game, but training certainly. But yeah, talking about going high, obviously, stress adrenaline. Like I try and have like a big meal and then a smaller meal. So then again, not playing around with as much insulin. But I could be sitting at 8, which is probably where I like to see it, 8 to 10.
Yep.
Like I don't mind going a bit higher, similar to Vez. Like you don't want to be worried about that. Like you've got, 1,000 other decisions that you need to make and prepare for. But it's really funny, like even just jumping in the bus, going to the game, I jump from 10 to 15 just because like I'm stressed, like the adrenaline, and I have fallen into that trap where you have adjusted, but it's like a hollow high almost, because once I do start to calm down and my nerves settle, then I just plummet down, especially if I have given myself insulin. So that's been a really big learning curve for me. It's like riding the wave is fine. Like I will gradually drop, especially like in warm up. Like by the time I hit court, like I'll be sitting where I want to see it.
So do you find that every warm up is like a similar trend? Like it's probably going to trend lower, or is it just different every day?
Different every time. Yeah.
So that's so hard. I think people don't understand how hard this is. Like one of you were on Ninja Warrior, right? I read something.
Yeah.
I did it too. So what seasons did you do it?
Oh, I think it was like season 3 maybe.
Okay, so I did season 2. So I was just before you. But I wanted to talk to you about your blood glucose because I had the weirdest experience. So on the first round or heat or whatever, I was like obviously so nervous. Like they put you through hell. Like sitting in this back like room till like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Freezing.
Wait,
too.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, they don't make it easy. So they want you to be like almost a little bit out of it. Yeah. So like they're psychologically. So where was yours?
Melbourne.
Okay, so I did the one here, and we get to this like island on Sydney Harbour. I can't remember where it was, but anyway. And you get there at like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And you don't compete until 1 a.m. the next day. So all day you're filming like the backstory, you're doing interviews, and there's like how many people? Like 250 people or something?
Yeah. All in this big tent.
Yeah,
in
surely
this
it could
big
be
tent.
more efficient.
No, but they do it on purpose. They want you to be like a bit rattled. So all day you're doing all this stuff, all the media, and then you're just waiting to go. Like you can't wait to compete. And then I go for my first heat, and I was so nervous and exhausted and just so out of it. I can't even remember what I did with my like insulin. I just wanted to run high, but I was like way high, like in the 20s. And I was like, this is a disaster. I'm going to perform terribly.
Probably because you're tired.
Like I probably missed a dose, like all of these factors.
Yeah.
But just going back to performance and the correlation with blood glucose, I ended up like performing really well. Hit the buzzer. I was like the first one to do it. I was like, this is amazing. I was thinking like, maybe it doesn't really matter if my blood glucose is high, in this situation, I can still perform well.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd perform better without it. But then the semi-final, I was low because I was used to the nerves of, having the heat. I knew what to expect.
Yep.
And I managed my nerves really well. And then I had a low.
Oh,
so it was like, but it just shows how hard it is.
Yeah.
Like you can do the exact same sport on 2 different days with similar strategies, and then your stress response is different.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard. So how do you control your stress around games? Do you have any like mindfulness things you do, or is it just?
Yeah, I'm big on it.
Yeah.
Big on breath work. And it's taken me like years to kind of figure it out, but I love getting around the girls. I'm like, everyone's so hyped and got music pumping and kind of like, we had girls that were up dancing, singing before the game, and I feel so bad, but I take myself away from that and like sit in my little locker by myself headphones in, like really chill music, and I do breath work. I literally just take it's like I think I'm naturally a pretty up there person, but it's like I've got to bring myself down to a level and just be really calm, because I find the calmer I am, the smoother my levels are.
I'd have to agree.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It just smooths the adrenaline out, I think, because you naturally get so excited. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to run out there.
Your body's going to kick into adrenaline mode anyway.
It is.
You don't need to have it in that mode an hour before.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
So it's like just staying real chill, it's
like in physiology, that's like controlling the peak arousal. It's the curve.
Yep.
Right? So if you're over aroused, your performance is low. If you're under aroused, your performance is low. There's this like sweet spot where your performance is like perfect. Do you do the same, like breath work and?
Yeah, definitely breathing, just trying to calm myself. I can definitely tell when my nerves and my stress is like going to go higher than other games. Like if I'm like feeling unprepared, I find that my peak or like my spike is much worse. You can just feel like, like your heart like racing and like, it's so funny like what your body's trying to tell you, and you can't hide away from it. Yeah. Like it's on your screen, you're like, I'm not stressed. And then you're like, oh.
It's like, yeah, you are, look at this.
And so, that's kind of frustrating.
When you say not prepared, what do you mean by that? Like mentally prepared or physically?
Probably just like, for example, coming up against an opponent that I may have not performed very well against last time. And so I'm really stressed. I'm like, oh God, overthinking, what am I going to do? So I find that when I'm in that mindset, that makes me worse. But there's only so much you can do. Like breathing works to a certain extent, and removing yourself and just having some me time. But it is challenging, but I think it's just, riding with it.
Yeah. What kind of breath work do you do? Have you got any
like box breathing?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I love that.
Love it. Simple and like so
simple.
effective.
Yeah. 6 out.
You 6 seconds?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 6 and 8, I think mine. Yeah.
That's cool.
But and it's so easy, and almost like when I get into the count as well, I'm like, like you kind of forget everything, calming,
it literally is just a trick to like hack your nervous system.
100%.
It's like you're doing it, and it just takes you away from thinking about the game, thinking about your opponent who you squared up with last time, or maybe didn't go well. Just focus on the breath.
Yeah.
Do you visualize the box in your head?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
It's like
visual. I love it. Yeah,
that's nice.
Definitely. But simple. Simple's good. Nothing fancy. Just kind of. And just getting away from the noise, I think. As much as I love it and would love to be a part of it. Yeah. But it's just, calm is good.
And tell me about your Ninja Warrior experience. I want to hear how you went.
Mine was, I think it was 2 a.m. when I finally got on the course. Yeah, crazy. But it was middle of winter in Melbourne and it was freezing. Like freezing. And I actually signed a waiver with FIBA, so with my netball team beforehand, because it was out of contract. Like we can't do that in contracting. So I actually had to sign a waiver that if I got hurt that they could take my contract. So it was just such a risk, but I was like, I just want to do it. I feel like I've always been a goodie. I was like, I just want to go do this and do something individual, like always being a team. As much as I love being team environment, it's all on you. You're out there and it's just you out there. Yeah. But levels were running up and down. Like I was roller coasting. I was exhausted by the time I got there and adrenaline hit so hardcore. Yeah. I was actually nervous.
And they call your name and then you walk out and you've seen the first observation.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've seen this so many times. If I fall on the first one, I'm going to be devastated. Yeah. That was what I was thinking. What were you thinking to say?
Yeah, definitely. I was like, just hit this. Just get through that.
Just get through the first one. Yeah. And then it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
Did you do well? Did you compete well?
I made semis but couldn't go back. So we were heavily in pre-season. The coach was like, you've had one go, Vez, like chill out. I was like, yeah, fair call.
Did you get airtime? Did they show you around?
Yeah, they did.
And they do a story on the diabetes stuff?
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was such a good experience. You would have been the first
diabetes story because they didn't air mine.
No.
So I had this whole like backstory. They came to my house. We filmed like this whole backstory. We did like all about the diabetes and, I can't remember if I was wearing CGM. I think I was. Maybe I wasn't. And then I did really well. I hit the buzzer on the first thing and then I made the semifinals and then I was waiting for it to show on TV and it was around Origin time.
Yeah.
So I'm watching State of Origin and the first ad for the season comes up. It's like season 2 Ninja Warrior and it's got 6 faces and there's my face front and center of this banner. I'm like, yes, I'm going to be in this season.
Yeah.
And then game 2 Origin. So 3 weeks later, same banner. Photoshop my face out, somebody else's face is in. And I'm like,
no.
Something's going on here. So I called the producer.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, we had to take you out. Like,
why?
they've got like all these stories that they run. It's like, we need this person to get through, and you know, they've got a sob story, and and it just didn't happen. Like, I was bitter at the time, but then I was like, you know what? It's production, it's TV.
I think your story is pretty cool.
Yeah.
The whole diabetes community got pissed off.
Yeah.
Because I had spoken about it. Because I saw
Yeah.
my face on the banner, and I started
Yeah.
going to social media and being like, guys, I'm going to be on Ninja Warrior. This is so cool.
No.
And then it didn't happen.
Just get
At
your
least got
own
the
little snippet.
experience though.
I asked them, but they wouldn't do it. Anyway, it's not important.
You can share it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Now everyone knows. Let's shift gears a little. Let's talk about nutrition, which is obviously so important for sports performance, but also diabetes management.
Yeah.
Have you both dabbled with different diets? We'll start with you, Sez. What's your kind of day-to-day nutrition, and what are some of the things that you focus on around performance?
Well, my diet's definitely improved since leaving school when I was on a budget. Finger buns and donuts were a main category.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously nutrition, it affects your performance. I think, you know, fueling your body, giving it energy. Even going back to the low carb diet, I did question that. Obviously, as athletes, you need to, you know, have enough carbs on board, give yourself that energy. But yeah, we've got a nutritionist at the Swifts who, you know, help guide us. You know, focus on the protein, the fats, the carbs. Looking at healthy snacks, and I don't know. I kind of
Just a balance.
live a. I don't like the word normal, but
Right.
like
You've
a
always been
classic.
such a good eater though,
Yeah.
I reckon. You're like onto it.
I try to have like a balance of like fruits, veggies, like meat, but I haven't really tried like diets per se.
Right.
Yeah.
So are there any low-carb athletes that you know who play high-level netball? Or is it sort of like everyone across the board is on board carbs? Because
Yeah.
I'm not judging anyone who,
Yeah.
if you do good low-carb, that's great. Good on you.
I hit keto for a while. Like
yeah, so did I.
I
Yeah.
really dabbled in it because I was struggling. Purely diabetes wise. I was like, I think I'm going to try this.
How did you go on it?
Loved it. Felt really good. But then when it came to trainings, like backing it up, especially the next day, I was exhausted.
Glycogen's
Yeah.
depleted.
wrecked.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Was that
yeah.
at camp, Aussie camp?
No, when I was at Aussie
Oh.
camp, when we were talking about stress before, it reminded me so much. Like I was just there was a lot going on outside of netball and the stress was ridiculous. My levels were crazy.
You
Yeah.
even think of like exams, like I sit at 5 or whatever, jump to 13, down to 5,
Yep.
and don't do anything.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
just purely the stress of
Just-
the exam.
Yeah, no food,
crazy.
just stress. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how the body can so quickly influence our blood glucose.
Wild.
Like you
Stress
can, well, it's not even like it's just like a instant response to your environment. So like sometimes I've used this example on the pod before, but like surfing in big waves, I'll be like cruising on this leisurely day. It's like so chilled, and then a big wave will come, and then I'm caught inside, and I'm like fearing for my life for a minute, and then my blood sugar's high. You know what I mean? So like it can happen so fast.
Yeah.
So you did the keto to essentially try and manage diabetes a little differently.
Yeah,
Good results with blood glucose, probably
Yeah.
less insulin requirements, all
Yep.
of that.
absolutely.
But from a performance standpoint,
Yep.
lost that gear.
Yep. I find that off season, like, you know, kind of what we have or whatever breaks we have, I'm more leaning towards that. So that keto kind of living is like I pull the carbs back purely just because it's easy management. As if I'm not exercising as much or in that environment. I think that's a difference is like when you're in that sporting and team environment, I think you push yourself so much harder.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
you're riled up and everything's going on. There's adrenaline pumping. So yeah, like where I'm going for a run by myself, it's okay. You know, like I'm kind of chilling, it's okay, and gym's fine.
Yep.
I can fix things if I need to, but yeah, it's I kind of lean towards that more keto-ish. I would say.
Right, so on the lower carb end, just for the ease of management.
Yeah, I
Right.
think so, and also I think just like managing weight as well. You know, like it's so easy to kind of you can still eat like an athlete when you're not, and you're not training like that. So like your calories versus what you're burning can be a real quick little weight gainer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of tend to do that and just hit proteins pretty hard. Like I love my meat, so it's pretty easy for me.
Well, it's actually so good to know that you've got different tools. Like
Yeah,
if you had to eat the same diet every single day, you'd be sort of like a slave to that. So knowing that you've got
Exactly.
options is actually quite like freeing
yeah,
for a lot of people.
yeah,
And-
absolutely.
And especially with diabetes, like I eat a very high carb, plant-based diet. You can have a low carb, more carnivore diet.
Yep.
We can both have great control,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it gives people the flexibility and freedom to choose how they want to fuel themselves.
100%.
And then during just like sort of in season, what does your diet look like? Is it also like mostly whole foods, fruit and vegetables?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the difference?
I think I've probably cleaned it up a lot more over the years. Like as you get older, right, you get wiser, more mature. You're like, okay, I don't need the chocolate every night, guys. It's like, come on. So yeah, pretty clean, I would think. But I guess like carb loading in certain times. So like if we've got a back-to-back day, I'm probably going to have like a decent carb fix it, for dinner that night. So I'm kind of, because I find that the back-to-back days, like if we train one morning and train the next, that's when I'm going to have my lows. So I probably would kind of load up, after that big session, knowing that we're going back in the next day. And then again, like I'm light on the days that we've got big sessions. I love like a bit of a graze. I don't want anything too heavy before I'm in there.
Gotcha.
Brekkie at the moment for me has been like, I love a bacon egg wrap, love it. But I'm also leaning towards like this. Bananas have always shot me up. They've just been, I don't know, it's my food. It just sends me high. Interesting. But now adding peanut butter to it, putting the fat content in, that's kind of, so I think it's eased the digestion of it, so I'm not getting this big spike. Yeah, wow. So banana and peanut butter on sourdough has been really good.
Nice. Oh, that's a classic.
Yeah. Loving it. I'm into it at the moment.
Oh, that's good. I'm into that as well.
Yeah.
That is interesting about those trigger foods.
Yeah.
Bananas being a trigger for you, but for me, I eat like 4 bananas a day.
I'm the same.
Love that.
I'm a monkey.
Bananas.
Like I could eat bananas all day long.
I'm so jealous.
Grapes, no.
Grapes, no. Yeah.
See, again, like this is one of those things that everyone says grapes one of the most high GI foods, and I don't get a spike from grapes. It's
the tricky things.
Yeah. What are some of your trigger foods? Are there any like foods that you just cannot have? They're off the menu.
Rice.
100%.
Brown,
even
white.
Brown, yeah.
I don't dabble too much in the rice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't like love it that much anyway.
Sushi,
so I'm like,
sushi's so good.
Yeah,
I
typically get white rice. So
yeah.
But yeah, obviously grapes. What else?
Pasta, because that's something that like across the board, most type 1s that I talk to are like, no, can't touch it.
I'm such a cheese fan. So like having pizza and like the melted cheese and all the saturated fats, like that was quite challenging. Like even just watching my Dexcom, like you'd put your initial dose in and then like 2 hours later you'd start going up again because of the saturated fats.
Yes.
So
the backlash.
that was was quite interesting navigating that early in the early days.
Especially if you have pasta for dinner, because then you're having this delayed spike in the middle of the night. Yep. But if it's like lunch, you've got 5 hours, 6 hours to get it under control.
Yeah.
So that seems to be a very common struggle is pasta at night.
And I have like tried to overcorrect, and then at times I have gone low during the night. So I'd probably try and avoid pizza like the night before a game or something. Just I want to play it safe and eat foods that I know work with me. Yeah, Not that I like don't eat foods because of diabetes or anything like that, but I just some are obviously easier to manage.
Exactly. So you just get a more predictable response to certain foods.
Yeah.
So why would you shoot in the dark and go for a pasta or a pizza if you know you got to perform the next day?
Yeah.
So what would like a evening meal be before like a big game? That's like, what did you eat before like a World Cup final? Do you remember?
Well, I think we're in like the athlete village and we had like all the different like countries and stuff. But my ideal sort of meal would be like steak, potatoes, veggies, or we often have like lasagna. So we had a trial match last week. So we had like garlic bread, lasagna, roasted vegetables, salad, schnitzels, chicken schnitzels.
Like potatoes.
Yeah.
Right.
So a bit of like a mix, and you can just kind of go up and get what you like.
Buffet style, you can create your own plate.
Dangerous.
Yeah, very
easy to overeat.
Easy to overeat. And also, I guess another thing people don't think of is like you give your dose for what you think you're going to eat.
It's
and then
you
got to stick to that.
Yeah.
And if you want to eat more, you may have to give another dose, or you just say, you know what, I'm not going to eat a second serve, and then you're a bit hungry. Like it's tricky. It really is tricky. And I think that's why for us on MDI, we run into those kind of hurdles. But I think if you're on a pump, maybe that is a bit easier, right? So it's a little bit more flexibility. I don't know for sure because I haven't used a pump, but I think that from the people I've spoken to, there is that flexibility because you're not just giving this big dose up front.
Yeah.
It's just trickling
slowly
it in.
coming.
Right. So that could be a reason why, people like the flexibility of a pump.
Yeah.
And you before game day, what's sort of like the same thing? The night before?
I actually have pasta like
the night
really?
Before. And you don't find it difficult?
I change my slow acting, so like just up that a little bit when I do have it, and then then up the Nova Rapid as well. But touch wood, I'm okay.
It works for you.
Yeah, like I'm not having huge amounts, but especially with footy. I was like, I need to get some carbs in. Like it's just, you need to be prepared for that big stint. And then on game day, as I said, like I'm so crazy. Like I don't want anything too heavy. So I find that, like even mentally, I'm like, okay, I've had a good meal last night. Like there's some fuel sitting there.
Yeah, I'm fueled up.
Yeah.
Did you find that the response to big games at footy was very different to netball games in terms of your blood glucose, like maybe trending down or?
It's actually, it was actually find it a little bit easier with footy because we've got water runners pretty much constantly. So like I could always get Gatorade in really quickly, which was really good. And they were onto it. So like I had lows like, Vez, you need this? It's like, yeah, I'm good. So I could top things up pretty well. Even like our little gels as well. Like if I felt, I was like, oh, I can feel myself dropping a little bit, have a little bit of gel, and I could still keep running and keep moving it out. Whereas netball, like you don't get those chances to come off and do that. And having such a short, sharp, explosive game, you have to keep going and push through. So footy being that little bit, I was out in the wing as well. So like I could have a bit of time to fix things if I needed.
Yeah.
But you definitely need to carb load a lot more. You know, those games are big. And as I said, the Ks that you're racking up was huge.
Yeah, I mean, like modalities that you can do for training, like for someone like me who's not an athlete, but like I know that when I do a long run, my blood glucose response is so different to when I do sprints up a hill.
Yeah,
100%.
Versus strength training versus, do you see that in season, like strength and conditioning, days look different to the running days and all that kind of stuff? Have you noticed different patterns?
Yeah, it's interesting. Hey, like mine probably spike more, I think, like with the explosiveness. I think, I don't know if it's like adrenaline getting excited, but then like, oh my God, we're off. But
it is, yeah.
I find I'm trending upwards, especially being back in netty. It's, I'm trying to get a handle of it, and then I've been correcting it and dropping. So it's like, it's do you, don't you? And then I find it sometimes if I don't correct it though, we're still sitting high.
Right. So
like I don't want to be up there, but
do you ever, have you tried giving us very, very small, like half a unit? Do you have a pen that has half a unit?
Okay. Yeah.
Like half a unit before the strength and conditioning or before that thing that would usually send you up?
Yeah.
And does that help?
I find that if I do that, I drop.
Okay. So you're so sensitive. Even that half a unit, it's just going to drop you.
So it's almost like you got to, as we said before, like ride the wave a little bit, like and just pop it.
Except you're going to go high.
Yeah.
Fix it later.
Yeah.
And then it's the one time you don't do it, then you stay there.
Yeah.
And then when you do it, it's
right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah. That's just diabetes just giving you a shove and going, get on with it.
Yeah. Telling me who's boss.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, damn.
And you, anything that you've noticed with different training modalities?
Particularly, yoga. I saw that you did a yoga session the other day. I found.
Did you laugh at me?
Yeah, I did. Yoga and Pilates weirdly just like dropped me.
Same.
Like walking, jogging, they all drop me.
Yep.
Strength, pretty good, pretty even. Court sessions, depending with the insulin on board, but typically it's like pretty good. I might go up and down maybe 4. So like stay in range.
That's good.
I guess it depends, like if it's like an official match and there's stress and adrenaline, obviously it'd vary a little bit more with that. But I typically find that netball training generally is like not too bad if like I'm in like a good routine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, routine, you keep going back to it, but it's such an important thing because it's such a good message because like obviously no 2 days are the same, but if you can figure out at least some patterns of like, okay, I know when I do this modality at this time of day, this is the response. Whilst if you don't pay attention to that, this is one of the mindfulness pieces that I like to talk about, and it's sort of one of my pillars is when you have diabetes, you have to be so mindful about everything you do and the potential consequence of it. Right? So we're always thinking about like, if I eat this, what's going to happen if I do this? But if you go through like mindlessly and you're not paying attention to those things, you think everything's just random. You go, oh, it's so random how, my blood sugar goes up here. But there's trends and patterns that you can put your finger on. Do you have any mindfulness, like, whether it's like tips or strategies or practices that kind of keep you tuned into what you're doing other than like breath work and, maybe doing some yoga and stuff? But is it conscious? Is that a mindfulness piece, like a conscious thing that you think about?
Yeah. And I think journaling has been like, it's huge. Yeah. Like I think as an athlete anyway, like putting things down and having goals and purposes and things, but then putting diabetes on top of that, I think adding in, so like, this happened today. Like literally like, I'll literally be like, oh, yep, a banana again. Like there's learn from your mistakes. Come on, girl. Like So I just think noting those little things that you can actually go back to and see, and it's a pain at the time to do it, but absolute game changer in the end, especially for us when it comes to game day. It's like, oh, okay, yep, this is what works. So it's frustrating when the nutritionist is like, do a food diary. And yeah, it absolutely sucks, but it's magic. It actually does work.
Yeah, no, that's actually a great point. And I'm sure there are apps that, you can
definitely
log.
Again, old school. I was like, let me write it down.
Handwriting it, aren't you? I love that. No, that's a good point. I mean, like note taking, like physically writing down what the trigger food is and what the response was, or do you use any apps to track this stuff?
Recently it was a Diet Easy or something. Oh, you like take photos of the food.
Right, and it tells you.
And you can write comments and stuff. Just because recently I got a higher HbA1c and it was kind of like a kick up the butt. And I know, I was like, hey, what am I going to do? Reassess. And so I did the classic, food diary and looked at my Dexcom. Obviously not getting too fixated on it, but just acknowledging the trends, how my body responds, learning what works for me, and just trying to stay on track. I find that really helps, like even around the pizza or trying something different for breakfast, like how am I going to respond? Trying that 2 days in a row. What happens then? What if I eat half an hour before training or 2 hours before training? So just like experimenting. I did a lot of that in my early years and journaling that or taking note of that. And I think that's helped me to get a good handle on it. Not that you've got a handle on it ever, but
it gets you closer towards the knowing what the response will be without being like perfect.
More educated about it, I guess. But obviously, lack of sleep and sickness, like they're huge ones that just knock me around. And so when that comes around, it's like, like you might go, 2-3 weeks and like be smooth sailing, and then the fourth week, it always happens like, diabetes has been sweet.
So easy,
like,
I got this.
And then the next week, it's like I've had 3 hypos in a week. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
so
I jinxed myself. Like,
totally. It's a wake up call.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sleep piece is quite big. You guys obviously dial in your sleep for performance, but it also affects diabetes quite a lot. Have you noticed? What have you noticed? What's the main thing?
The roller coaster, like trying to keep levels steady.
Yeah.
I think we were speaking about that at training the day. We both were like, had bags under our eyes and we just looked tired, probably dehydrated as well, which is another huge factor.
Yeah, that's huge.
But I really noticed that just the control, I think, is so much harder when I'm sleep deprived.
Yeah, the next day it's just a roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
Like unexplained highs and lows, and you're just thinking, why is this happening? And it is literally the sleep piece.
And not that I rely on it, but for the diamonds, we wear a Whoop, so I can kind of use that as a goal. I can kind of wake up and see if I'm in the green or the red, and quite often, if I'm kind of sitting at 50%, I'm more prone to spiking higher or not being as sensitive to the insulin on board. So I can sort of like be more conscious of that. So it kind of allows me to get or manage it a little bit better, I guess. But very goal driven. So I love the Whoop, but I can see how you can get very fixated on it at times.
Yeah, it's more data that you're seeing. And like we're looking at our glucose data. Like I've got insulin data. Have you seen the InPen, the Medtronic InPen? It's like it basically Bluetooth to your phone, and every dose you give, it sends it to your phone.
Yeah.
So you can see how much insulin's on board, when was your last dose.
Yeah.
So I've got like InPen data which links to CGM, but then it's like I also use the Whoop. So it's like in the morning I'm checking recovery, sleep, like how much restorative sleep did I get? And then it's just like so much coming in. You've got to like learn to manage it.
Choose and pick what you need. And
What would you say are the most important like lifestyle things? So we spoke about sleep, obviously exercise, nutrition. Are there
routine.
Yeah, you love routine. Stress we spoke about. Are there anything else? Is there anything else that you've noticed is like linked to diabetes that's important, or are those like the biggest pillars, would you say?
I reckon hydration's
and
huge.
hormones.
Yeah.
Like,
that's something I don't know anything. So educate me. Like what happens? Like,
oh my gosh, it's a rough week.
Really?
It's just you,
like highs?
You become really insulin resistant.
Yep.
Right.
I find that like 2 days before, like I'm very sensitive, and then 3 days in, it's like, okay, can't get past this wall. Like,
wow. So no matter how much insulin you give, it's just like not working properly.
It's very resistant. Yeah.
Wow.
It's gotten a lot better, but I can see the challenges that women in particular would have.
Wow, that is tough.
With managing.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, it's like just, I don't know, it doesn't.
Another hurdle.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that.
Crazy.
There's enough hurdles.
But as a hydration is saying, I think it's so like underrated. Like we don't speak about it. but it's like I really notice it, and I struggle with hydration, always have. And I don't know if it's just me individually or if it is diabetes that play around with it, but
I think it's like bidirectional. It's both.
Yeah,
like diabetes can influence your hydration status, and your hydration status influences your blood glucose control. It's just you can't break them apart.
Yeah,
they're married in that way. So what do you do for hydration strategy? Are you just trying to drink a lot of water all day? Do you use electrolytes?
I've tried to introduce more electrolytes just to kind of make it stick a little bit. Actually, someone said to me to start using having salt in the morning, like a glass of salty water, just to try and make it stick a bit more on those really hot days. So I've kind of started playing around with that a little bit. But yeah, just being a bit more conscious of, okay, how much water do I actually need? And especially with us, it's like intake, outtake. Like the other day at training, it was like so hot. It was like a sauna.
Bikram Netball.
Legit.
Yeah.
Legit.
Yeah. Just like nonstop sweating.
Yeah.
So bad.
It was wild. And I really noticed at night, I was having I think I had 2 lows that night after that session. And I really think it's matched with this hydration stuff. I struggle.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Hypo? I'm an ambassador, but I'm going to give you some sachets before you leave. I want you guys to try it.
Keen. Love that.
I'll hook you guys up with some, but it's basically just the electrolytes without the glucose. Obviously, I'm not going to be sipping on glucose all day.
Yeah.
With diabetes, it's going to be tricky.
So these are the things everyone's like, oh, just have a hydrolyte. I have this or have that. I was like, but you don't realize what that does.
Right. Even if it has 5 grams of glucose, it's going to send our blood glucose
all
up.
the carbs that come with it, or people just it's just not that easy. Love that.
Well, we've covered a lot of terrain. I think it's awesome to see both of you thriving, playing at the highest level with diabetes. It's hard enough to make the national squad without it. So it's pretty unreal. So before we close the show, where can you send people to, like your Instagram, or where do you want people to connect or find you?
Yeah, I'm very gram. Hit me up on the gram, and that's my thing.
Verity Simmons?
Yep.
Underscore something in there?
No, just Verity Simmons.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
and just Sarah Klau.
Okay. All right. Well,
really
simple
stock
gals.
standard, really boring.
If you message Sarah, just wait 12 hours. She might respond.
I'm probably
5 days.
Yeah, more like 5.
It's my New Year's resolution.
It's okay.
Reply quicker.
I'm bad too. It's okay. We got here. We did it. All right.
It's fine.
So it's now your turn to close the show. Who wants to go first with their letter to diabetes?
What would you like?
Mine's quite long. I don't want to bore you guys.
No, this is like the gold of it. People love this.
I'm keen. I'm excited to hear this.
I'm
Do you want
so
to go
excited.
first?
No, hit it. I'm keen.
Yeah. Take us away.
Yeah.
It's like I prepared earlier.
And you might need to pull the
Hopefully-
mic back in front of you
Yeah,
when you do.
Just let me check my glucose.
Actually, yeah, we should
Nice.
all do a check.
Mm.
You have to get your...
Yeah, I was like, I got a finger freak.
That's okay.
I think I'm going to go get
I went
either
up.
Libra
How
after
did
this.
you go?
What's yours?
Well, we were both exactly 7.8 at the start.
Mhm.
And I had, I think, 0 insulin on board. I'm now 10.0.
Nice.
Oh, she's look.
I just sat.
Nailed it.
Yeah, it's good.
8.2.
I'll take it.
Look, I was trending up before. I think let's have a look. This will be interesting to see.
Today wasn't a good day for me, but
It wasn't?
why?
What happened?
Because of the sunrise kayak.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Why? So you woke up earlier than you would, and you were out exercising early.
And just
Different routine.
food.
Routine.
Yeah.
See?
Routine.
Why would you do that to yourself? You
Yeah.
broke the routine.
Let me look. I know. Oh my God, people are going to think I just, don't live a life.
No, it's a routine life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ain't nothing but a thing.
Yeah. All right.
All right, let's hear it.
Hopefully it makes sense. But here we go. Dear Diabetes, it's strange to think how much you, my constant buddy, have shaped my life over the years. I didn't meet you in the dramatic textbook fashion that many others have. There was no sudden weight loss, no unquenchable thirst, no frequent bathroom breaks. Instead, you crept into my life quietly, a slow build-up that gave me time to prepare, although I'm not sure I ever truly felt ready, and choosing to sit in denial, convincing myself that you would ever eventuate into anything more. After all, I was fit, I was healthy, I was active and ate well. Surely I could fight it off. But to my dismay, that was clearly a myth. You waltzed on into my life in 2015 when a routine screening with the Adelaide Thunderbirds raised the first red flag. A muesli bar might have spiked my glucose levels high that day, but the repeat test told a different story. I was in the pre-diabetic stage. I remember that limbo period, leaving the clinic with a finger prick machine and no clear answers, just waiting and testing. By 2017, we tried to name you. Modi, they said, a rare form of diabetes that might not require insulin, just lifestyle tweaks. I was exercising daily, eating well, but there was still a lingering suspicion that our relationship might change. And in 2019, it did. That moment with my endocrinologist, the tissue box sliding across the desk, is ingrained in my memory. I thought I was prepared, but when I heard the words type 1 diabetes, you hit me harder than I expected. I left the office in shock and walked to my car in tears. It wasn't the needles or the jelly beans I had naively assumed would define you. Instead, it was the unknown complexities that came along with you. The early days of learning to live with you were overwhelming. Carb counting, injections, highs, lows, you just felt like too much. I vividly remember sitting on my lounge room floor, sitting there with the JDRF manual, my brain overloaded with information I didn't ask for but had to absorb. There were tears, confusion, and doubt, but also a determination to figure you out. Thankfully, I've had incredible people by my side. Lucas, my strength coach, always had the right perspective and encouragement. Verity, my teammate and fellow type 1, showed me what was possible. Maddie, my housemate, a sympathy hypo snacker, reminded me I didn't have to navigate this one alone. And countless others in the diabetes community, from friends who shared their stories to strangers offering kindness, have all played their part in helping me not just manage but thrive. You've challenged me, no doubt about it. I mean, I love carrying around my little bum bag with all my supplies and managing netball training and university and work and hikes or nights out, whether it's figuring out how to handle jet lag, stress, and adrenaline during the World Cup. You forced me to be diligent, resilient, and did I mention organised? But you've also taught me to listen to my body, embrace imperfection, and find strength in vulnerability. You've taught me the power of community and the value of paying it forward, like when I helped someone newly diagnosed work toward becoming a pilot again after being stripped from their everyday profession, offering guidance and sharing hope amid the overwhelming information and uncertainty. I resented you at first. You forced me into a routine. I didn't ask for it. Made me learn how to count carbs, adjust insulin, monitor everything I did, and make endless diabetes-related decisions in my daily life. There were days of frustration when I thought I had you all under control, only to be thrown off by a low or a high blood sugar that came out of nowhere, and having to go for post-meal walks or lounge room star jumps to get the blood pumping and the insulin circulating. I remember feeling overwhelmed and asking, why me? Like I was always fighting against you, trying to regain control. But over time, I realized that I needed to work with you, not against you. You've reshaped my life socially in ways I never imagined. Every outing, every beach trip, even a simple walk requires planning. You brought your fair share of misconceptions and judgment, like when people say, you don't look diabetic, or ask questions that reveal how little people understand. But you've also given me opportunities to educate and advocate to share my story and hopefully help others along the way. Today, almost 9 years since you first appeared and nearly 5 years since our relationship became official, I've learned to coexist with you. You've added complexity to my life, but you've also brought unexpected clarity. I know now that I'm stronger than I ever gave myself credit for, that I'm surrounded by people who love and support me, and that I'm capable of adapting to whatever challenges come my way. We've had some pretty epic moments together, climbing Mount Fuji, scuba diving, paragliding, and representing Australia in netball. You've never stopped me from chasing my dreams. You've helped me realize that diabetes is just one part of who I am and that I'm capable of achieving anything I set my mind to. So thank you, diabetes, not for the endless needles or carb counting or sleepless nights, but for the lessons you've taught me. You've made me more resilient, determined than I ever thought possible. You've taught me to embrace You've taught me to embrace imperfection, to ask for help, and to lean on my support system when I need it. And most importantly, you've shown me how to adapt and to never leave the house without a stash of lollies or 5. P.S. Without you, I wouldn't have met my partner, Jack. You're the real matchmaker. Who needs Tinder when you have diabetes? Love, Sarah.
Oh, that is so good. That was so well written and well read. Tell me about this relationship Tinder thing that happened with.
Oh, well, I get really stage fright, and even doing this podcast, I'm a little bit nervous. Yeah. And my partner, Jack, he actually ran the Diabetes Vic podcast. And so I was his guest on his podcast. And then, we kind of just spoke every day after the recording and kind of built that connection. And over COVID, I think that allowed us to kind of get to know each other. I'm not sure if COVID wasn't there, whether we would have a belt. Oh, I can't even speak.
Yeah.
Without COVID, I'm not sure if we would be together.
Wow.
I think we're able to build that emotional connection. And yeah, we've been together for
That's
2
amazing.
years.
So did he
He's
have
type
diabetes?
1 as well. Yeah. So he played 7 years for AFL as well. So you can get him on your podcast.
There we go.
And he likes to talk a lot. So
What's his last name?
Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's such a cool story. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Didn't do my research. I should have known that.
No. You're
That's
so
awesome.
fine.
Well, thank you for reading that out. What a great letter. And
It's
I hope
beautiful.
it inspires people. Vez,
I love that.
she set a high bar.
Yeah,
Maybe you should have gone
I
first.
should have gone first. Damn it.
Sorry.
No,
It's a bit long.
I'm
No,
happy.
it
I'm
was-
happy
it
to lose to you,
was
Ceci.
perfect.
That was good.
It was
That was
perfect.
amazing.
All right,
I
Vez, your
love
turn.
that.
You're going off by heart, aren't you? No. Oh, you wrote it down on paper like old school?
Oh, yeah, I did it on my phone.
Vez, did you fax it
I
in?
use
or-
technology, guys. I don't
Uh,
usually, so it was good.
Oh,
All
that's
right,
awesome.
let me find you.
I'll have to connect with Jack after this.
He'll love it. Yeah. He'll do it.
Definitely. I love that you guys are both diabetic.
Yeah.
He's
we can do a
very
whole
old school like
We
you.
can do a whole
He's
podcast on just having a diabetic partner. Like, what
Yeah.
an interesting household.
He still uses his first finger pricker. So he's been diabetic for 11 years and he still uses
It's the
his
same one.
first.
I hope he's changed the Lancet since
Wait.
then, though. Probably
Oh,
hasn't.
probably not.
Blunt
Love
piece of
that.
metal just jamming into his hand.
I reckon mine might be too. I think I went back to it just because my new one
What
broke.
one? What are you using?
I don't even know which one it is. It's like,
Really?
it's real old. Yeah.
You are so old school. I love it.
It is
Yeah.
old
Something
school.
about it that's kind of like, I like it.
Yeah. It's authentic.
One day you might adopt some new technology. We'll see.
Yeah. I reckon I'll jump on the Dexcom soon or the Libre just to,
During season, do you think?
I think I might do it like as in this week. I reckon. Yeah. Just because of the change in
Let's
sport.
figure out a way to strap it to your body so it doesn't come
Yeah.
out. Surely physio tape around it?
Yeah.
Couldn't
I'll
that do
find
it?
something. I
See,
think the arm might
mine's
be.
fine, but maybe my height helps
Yeah.
me.
I think it's, yeah.
Yeah, because you're like head height. Most people's heads are like at your torso.
Right?
Yeah. Everyone's elbows and just grabby gets
Yeah.
me here. So
We-
I might do.
We
Rock
did
an armband.
try. We went to the chemist together and tried to get the Libre,
Yeah.
but we didn't know you had to get separate letters from the doctor. And
Yeah.
For the new one, the Libre 2
Yeah,
or
Libre
the
2, yeah.
Oh, really?
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah,
I've got my letter, so I was like, I can go do that now. So I'll actually,
yeah.
Doc's hooked us up. Yeah.
Cool. We'll have to do a second episode and get a recap on how the technology
Yeah.
changes.
yeah. Up with the times.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, let's hit this. Mine's a bit shorter, so it'll be short and sweet. All right. Dear diabetes, you're a tricky one. I'll give you that. That's for sure. But I've always believed I've been given you because I love a challenge and can handle your moods. I remember so clearly the day you appeared in my life. I was 17, getting a checkup due to the crazy amounts of water I was drinking. And bam, just like that, the doc explained to me that I have a new best friend for life. One that I really didn't want, one that I didn't need, and one that I had no idea about. And one that was never going to go away, as he explained. 2 needles were handed to me, a blood glucose monitor, and a bag of jelly beans. This should tame the beast, right? How very wrong I was. You're hard work and were hard to understand. Different foods would set you with skyrocketing highs and too much insulin with heart trembling lows. The roller coaster we were on together was one I desperately wanted to get off. Unfortunately, that was just not an option on the table. We battled it out each day. Many tears were shed and many fears were made, but somehow we made it through the struggle and we started to form our friendship. People may think our friendship was an odd one, and I'd probably agree with them. But we are stuck with each other, so you may as well find the positives out of it. You've taught me so much about my body and how it works and what it needs. You've taught me about recovery and the pressure we put our bodies through. You've given me a crazy amount of lows, and at least I get a good sugar fix out of it. And I get to carry a cute handbag around with me at all times with all your needs in it. But most of all, you've taught me that as challenging as you are and my situation is, it could always be worse. I'm grateful that I have the ability to be an athlete alongside you, to live a healthy life, to adventure, and to live, truly live in such a beautiful world. Although if I had the chance to change having you in my life, there would be no hesitation, as you're not an easy friend to have as a constant. But I know that chance will never come my way, and I'm honestly okay with that, as I really believe I'm so capable of this challenge that's been handed to me. Dear diabetes, I'll never give up the fight, as I know you won't either. Short and sweet, guys.
Wow.
Short and sweet.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Beautifully written.
Oh,
Really,
thanks, guys.
really, really good. I mean, the common theme amongst pretty much every person's letter is like, initially it's like, I hate you, who are you, why are you in my life, to actually you've taught me a lot and life's actually still really good. And I think that everyone who's successful, who's been on the show, has had that same sentiment. So
Love that.
I think it's like, it's very powerful to hear everyone who has that attitude of like, you know what, we can actually still live a really good, healthy life. And it gets
Absolutely.
easier and easier with technology change, even though you haven't decided to jump on that train yet. But like, it really is compared to say 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Yep,
you know,
definitely.
it's much easier now than ever. And with a good attitude, I think we can do anything. So
Yeah, 100%.
thank you for being here.
Thanks for
I
having us.
really enjoyed that conversation. It was so cool to have you both here together. I didn't see that coming. So.
Says and Vez.
Says and
you.
Vez. I know you almost need to have like a new brand or something, like a diabetes brand. Says
Thinking
and
about
Vez.
it.
Yeah.
See, you got the same bag. So
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Copy that.
well, let's
Watch
whip
this
up a little
space.
smoothie and
Keen.
finish it off with some healthy foods. I've got
That's
a
good.
very different recipe I sent you beforehand.
Yeah,
I
I
haven't
was
tried it
nervous
yet.
about it, but I was like,
Let's see how we
let's
go.
go.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's
It'll be
suss
an
it out.
experiment.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. This is the in-pen I was telling you about. So
Yeah, this is cool.
it's really cool. So like it Bluetooths straight to my phone. So what pens do you
Okay.
use?
Yeah,
Let's look at your matching bag. Show everyone your matching bag.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
I
Sponsored?
copied
Are you
Vez.
sponsored
We
or what?
should. We
You
should be
should be.
sponsored.
Come
We
on.
had Mimco, now we're on guest.
Yeah.
Maybe some Prada.
Yeah,
biggie.
check us out.
Yeah, no big deal. Prada, if you're listening.
Are you on Diagnoses? You on? Oh no.
Nah.
Oh, you're on that. Oh, so you've got the Novo pen. Oh, you keep your needle on. This is great
Yeah, me too.
education. Let's talk about this, everybody.
Oh,
Don't do that. Look at that.
Fun.
Okay,
community.
I'd highly recommend that you don't do that.
Yeah.
Because for many reasons. Here, let me know. I'm sorry to be shaming you live on air here, but it's a good teachable moment.
It works for me.
Yeah, imagine you leave your pen in another room and a little kid walks by and is like, hey, what's this? And there's already a needle on. Like there's the risk of somebody being able to inject themselves, which is number
true.
one. But also, aside from that, and we can cut this, don't worry if you feel like,
Fine.
okay.
You can shame me. It's fine.
Same. It's okay.
so sorry.
Same.
I got thick skin.
Yeah.
When you leave a needle on, air gets in. So you've got to constantly have air bubbles in your pen. So you should really,
Nice.
and also,
I do this where you like
Yeah, I see a little
the
air bubble in
bubbles
there.
and then you go.
yeah, I still always prime it, but like you will get way more air bubbles in if you leave the pen attached because air can just go back through. Anyway.
I'm still here.
These are for you. This is the weirdest
Oh,
gift you'll
thank you.
ever receive, but these are
Thank you so much.
Drew's Daily Dose pen needles.
Okay, well, we may as well try one now.
You want to try one?
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, let's go.
Teeny.
Wait,
Diabetic
let's
teens.
work out how we dose for this. So beetroot, apple, mixed berries.
Yeah.
Almond milk, which is very low carb. To be honest, there's probably not a lot of carbohydrate in this.
I was gonna say,
we
I was
all
like,
guess?
I wouldn't need
Well, let's
much.
guess. Yeah, like how would you if we were at a restaurant and you ordered this
Yeah.
beetroot / berry smoothie,
Yeah.
how would you dose for it?
I reckon I'm taking 2 units for this because I reckon I'm on the way down from insulin still on board.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And do you have a ratio you follow? Like 1 unit for 10 grams, 1 unit for this, that?
Again, depending on what training was. So like yesterday being big training day, I get the effects of it from today.
Right. So you're more sensitive.
Yeah.
Got it. But I think
What would be like 10 grams?
I'm guessing, yeah, I wouldn't even say, let's
Like
like,
7, 8?
I'm going to go 10 as well.
Why?
For me, that's,
I'm like 1 to
1.
15.
yeah. So you've got
Yeah.
half units?
No,
These little
No, you
bougie
don't.
needles.
it's okay. Yeah, they're so little.
Yeah, I love
Are they?
these.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is not
That's
a paid
cool.
ad, everybody.
I love it.
Good.
Are we doing it together or
Yeah, let's do it together.
cheersing?
Let's
Or
cheers.
what are we doing?
Cheers.
Cheesing.
That's a first. So you go abdomen, you go leg, I also go leg.
Yeah.
I always
Or like
bruise on
the
my
bum.
leg.
I'm going to have to give a slight correction dose because I'm a little bit high.
I didn't even check what I was. 8.
Oh, yeah, let me show you something else with these needles.
Just taking my
7.
needle off, guys. I'm not
So
leaving there.
check this out. So remember how I told you to take it off?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's still on.
Great,
I
listen.
know, take it off.
Use that little cap and it can seal the needle.
That's cool.
So you don't like
Oh yeah, the back of
the
it.
back.
Clever.
Use that as a party trick.
That is cool.
So
like
I would
that.
usually wait for like 10, 15
I
minutes
like
for my bloods to come down
Yeah.
before having this, especially because I'm high. Where's my phone?
Just here.
Oh, thank you. I'm coming down naturally anyway, so I'm about 9 now. So we can probably get right in.
Hit
eh?
it.
Have a
Alright.
proper cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah. Cheesies.
Cheers.
Cheesies.
Thanks for being here again.
Thanks for having us.
There's a little bit of vodka in here and a little bit of... It's thick.
That's real thick.
It probably needs a little bit more.
It's like a snack.
Well,
Kind of good.
I messed it up.
What do you mean?
I should put more liquids.
I don't mind it. It's kind of like
Yeah,
nuts.
Let's try it. The flavor's all right. It just needs to be like way more.
It's not baddie.
More liquidy.
Like the beetroot's strong, but
It is strong.
Mm.
Let's try.
No, I don't mind it.
Yeah, you're gonna eat it. You're gonna go with it. Do you ever use beetroot for like performance enhancing?
We used
like
to,
powders and supplements and
Yeah,
stuff?
we used to.
Yeah.
It used to give me really weird dreams there.
Really?
Was it beetroot or was it
Beetroot, yeah. The
beetroot
shots?
juice?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really weird dreams.
Really?
Mm.
Oh, those like those little shots.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And we had
concentrated.
Had the tablets as well,
Yeah.
but I don't take them anymore.
Yeah.
I remember always like going to the bathroom. I was like, oh my God. Like after it, I was like, oh yeah. Like the beetroot.
That is better. I recommend.
Yeah.
Just go down a bit easier. What other supplements do you take or not take? What are like the biggest levers, the things you can pull on that really make a difference, do you think, for performance and recovery?
I'm not huge on supplements personally. I have been through phases where we'll take multivitamins and fish oil and vitamin C, zinc, all of those. But in terms of supplements, like I've tried the creatine.
Yeah. Did you feel any difference with creatine or not really?
Not really.
Some people are non-responders. Some people are hyper-responders. Like it's not going to be the same for everyone.
I didn't measure that closely to be fair, but
Mm.
we've got like protein powder and that. So like after sessions,
Yeah.
Again, I don't
big on
really.
No?
Get it
No.
from food. Like I'd rather
I knew you'd be a minimalist with this.
Old
I
school.
do. Yeah. Like creatine things I've had before as well, but probably just haven't clued into it enough. Like I probably need to look into it and see actually what my body does with it. And if it does work over the period of time. I feel like I've been impatient.
I feel like if you're going to test it, it's probably like a good like off-season or pre-season. Like I wouldn't be messing with it in season necessarily, but you could do a little. It's actually not that hard to do like a few weeks.
Yeah.
Feel the difference and see your numbers in the gym, changing. You might see something.
Yeah.
We do get DEXA scans where you lie in the machine and you get
Body
them.
comp.
Yeah. So like if there were goals around that, like Sarah, you need to put on more lean muscle,
Right.
then I'd probably look to use supplements.
You
But
don't need it.
yeah, it's probably not something. Yeah, that I
And protein powders, you do dabble a little bit.
Ish. Yeah. But
used to, but
yeah.
a few up and goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, after training the day, like I had like salmon, like smoked salmon ready to go. Like I was like, yes. Like so I just rather
Whole
eat.
foods, you're not leaning on the supplements and stuff too.
I love that. Yeah. Not against it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like some
Just
people
like
like
another
it, some people
thing.
don't. It's fine.
Yeah.
What about some hypo go-tos? Like what do you go when you're low?
Oh, you know what I'm loving at the moment is nerd ropes.
Oh, the nerd clusters.
Low cost. Yeah, they're really good.
Mm.
They're and they're in
Real
a
good.
packet too. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what those are.
get around
So
it.
good.
Yeah, they're so
Yeah.
good.
Nerd, as in those like back in school days. Those,
Mhm.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
But they're
yeah.
attached to like a jelly thing.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Okay. What
Yeah.
about a crack?
do
My guilty pleasure is raspberry twisters.
Ooh, yeah.
Or the
As a hypo treatment or just in general?
just general, but
Yeah.
also like, handy for
Yeah.
both. Or the strawberry clouds, but yeah,
Oh, they're good.
like Parades for ease, but then I also have like the glucose tablets, especially when you've like just finished a meal and you don't feel like eating.
Right.
So I find that they're a lot easier. Yeah, I mean, I like to vary it up. I've got like a little container in my top drawer next to my bed.
Me too.
Sometimes they go missing.
So
I'm like,
good.
what are my housemates doing? Or like, they just have a little nibble. I'm like,
Shit,
guys.
you wouldn't want those missing when you really need them. That'd be a disaster.
No, they'd never steal them all.
Yeah,
But yeah, they like to enjoy a lolly with me.
Yeah.
Do you guys find really random, but like if you have sugar, so like, I don't know, you're probably not having a lot of it. When I have it, I feel like I get really like, I don't know, like what's that word? Like
Refluxy.
yeah, I don't know. Like it's
Just doesn't sit well.
yeah, it doesn't. Yeah,
Look, to be
Hate that.
honest, I've actually got a massive sweet tooth. So I
same.
really
savory.
enjoy really.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like I love a good sweet dessert.
Yeah,
I just hate eating sugar when you don't like it's the middle of the night, for example.
I
Yeah.
hate that. Do you brush
Yeah.
your teeth after?
Always.
Mm.
Yeah. But
That's
now
good
I'm
for-
trying to figure out ways to consume it without it having to chew. Like snap.
Swallow
Juice.
Skittles.
You swallow them whole? What with
Stop
water?
Stop
it.
Like tablets. And I'm like,
Like a
well, I don't
tablet?
want to brush my teeth.
So a glass of water, Skittles
Yep.
down the
like
hatch?
those little,
Yeah.
I think I've got a packet here.
Oh my. Now that's different.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
out in the hands,
And it works? It doesn't
Yeah.
like take too long to dissolve and break down?
Yeah.
all depends on the urgency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might just give a few chews and just swallow it.
Yeah.
What
That's
about
different,
fruit
Sam.
juice or like something that's already in glucose liquid form?
Yeah.
Or like a gel?
Juice, Powerade, up and go.
Yeah. The Skittles down like a pill is hilarious.
That's so funny.
I don't know. Is that embarrassing? Maybe
No,
I
it's
should
so
have
funny.
said that.
I love that.
So
It was more
unique.
just lazy
I love
because
that.
I didn't want to
Yeah.
brush my teeth. And I hate, like, there have been times where I haven't gotten up to brush my teeth after it. And I wake
Same.
up and I'm like,
Oh, me too.
Yeah, feel ya.
Isn't it the worst?
yeah.
Wake up with jelly beans in your teeth. It's horrible.
Yeah, that's
I feel really guilty too. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get so many cavities.
I know.
Like,
Me too.
Well, this is actually like probably a problem that a lot of people think like are facing, where you're having to treat lows in the middle of the night, but you don't want to eat candy all the time.
Yeah.
So it's
No.
like, we need option. Thanks for listening to my conversation with Cez and Vez. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it on social media and tag us in your posts. And if you want to connect with the girls, be sure to follow them on Instagram. I'll see you in the next episode for another dose of inspiration and education.